If you're a PulseChain validator, got some news for you. Finally got pruning to work. And when I say work, I think I've talked about it. I mentioned it a few times around. I've tried to run the pruning. So we have a script on, if you go to tiny, what is it? I'm going to go real DeFi and get there. It's the easiest way. Go real DeFi, learn to earn, all the way down validators. Oh, that's not that goes to the playlist, which also has a link to what I was trying to think of. tinyurl.com/PLS validator setup, which is just redirects to the GitHub. So there's a script on the GitHub. You go to table contents and go down. Well, actually, I'll just show you this pruning script right here. So if you go to prune Geth, I have a script that automates the commands and everything for you too. I've been trying to run it for a while, and it just keeps saying, "You don't need to run it, man. It's okay. Like it's not time yet." I'm like, it's been 6 months. It's been 5-6 months. I think I first started trying it around the 5-month mark, because around 6 months is kind of the guidance that I think I've heard or came up with one way or another. And then it kept saying, not ready yet. So about every month I've been trying to prune it just to see, okay, tell me when it's ready. Finally, I was, all right, I'm about to run out of disk space. So I'm pretty sure you've got to be close. And I tried to run it a couple weeks ago, and it said, need, a few more something. It needs a few more I can't remember what it said. Like it was almost there though. And then a couple days ago, I'm like, all right, it's got to be ready now. I'm about to run out of disk space. This has to work. And then, it finally went through. It looks like it took around, at the end of it, it said almost 12 hours. So it took about 12 hours. So offline, looks like there for around 12 hours, or just trying to think about in general. The general guidance is, you need to go offline to do stuff like this. And pruning was 722 gigabyte. So 722 around, just over 700 gigabytes saved in space. And just around that amount of time. So it does take some time, but this is something. And shout out to Hexpleb, by the way. He mentioned that there are some cache flags. So some flags you can use. Let's see. Oh, this was back on a thread a while back. Wow. Oh yeah, we were talking about virtual memory a while back. Okay. The cache flags to make that a little bit easier to do too, and maybe not happen as quick too. So I usually just keep my stuff vanilla. I don't change all the flags. If I just maybe I'll I just kind of, I'm always like the cautious. I don't want to break anything, and it never, if I need to prune it every once in a while, it's not a big deal anyways. So but there's some optimizations stuff people can go for too on that. But let's say I finally pruned the Geth client on the validator, and it went through, got a bunch of disk space back, and pretty awesome. So glad to see I can finally talk about that, because I've been wanting. That is the only script I haven't been able to run the script. I wrote the script, but I wasn't able to fully test it until my validator was able to be pruned. I was like, all right, I'll just wait till it needs to be pruned. So finally, all the scripts on the list are fully tested. Funny enough, all of them were except this one, because it wasn't time to prune it yet. And the script worked fine. Had no problem whatsoever, which it's pretty simple. So I wouldn't expect it to, but pretty cool. Hex 9000. Hey Max, after having so much trouble with documentation, PulseChain validators, scrapped it and went bare bones with your scripts. Works great so far. Awesome. Yeah, man. There's a lot of good guides and scripts and stuff, and I know most people seems like they like to use Docker, and I've used it before. I've made containers. Like I know all about the technology, and it's amazing. For me, I've talked about this before. It's just one of those. It's kind of like personal preference. Like you can do it all in containers. But for me, I like bare metal. Like it just feels like another layer to me. And now, especially people who use guides and scripts like that, they got to learn Docker or figure out how, if there's some error, then they got to figure out how that works. So my whole thing is like, I want to remove as much complexity as possible, make it as easy as possible, learn the least amount possible in order to get set up and, troubleshoot and do stuff like that. So that's why I just never was interested in doing a Docker version of the scripts, but there's definitely pros and cons with each. But I'm glad you got mine set up and working, and glad it helped, because I like my scripts, and a lot of people seem to use them. A lot of people use other community scripts as well. So very cool. I'm glad we have so many different people creating content, creating automation scripts and stuff in the community with different ways of approaching it. That's good just in general for the diversity of ways of doing things is good for people who have an inclination towards one way or another, or have trouble in this case with one way or another. And sometimes you need a fresh start. Like I was setting up the validator stuff when I first started learning about it on Ethereum with, I think, was I using basically the opposite of what I'm using now. I was using Aragon and Prism, I think, or something like that. And when I got to PulseChain, again, nothing against those clients. They're fine. And there's nuances with which each of clients. Some are, I think Aragon, you don't need to prune at all. It's got some different features and stuff. But I just got like, I had so much frustration with those clients on Ethereum. When I came to PulseChain, I just picked the other two. I'm like, no, I'm done trying to work with these. I know it's just how I'm feeling right now or whatever. But I was like, the pro side is now I'll be able to experience what all 4 clients are like, and get that kind of fresh start thing. So no client that's really better than another. It's just all, they all have pros and cons. But yeah, funny story about Ethereum Validator on testnet stuff too. So anyways, welcome to the party. Glad I got it up and running. Yeah, I hope it goes well.